The DNA test kit sat on the glass table like a loaded gun. 27 news cameras pointed at it. 50 million viewers watched the live stream. And Morley stood perfectly still, knowing the next 10 minutes would either destroy her life or reveal the truth that had been buried for 62 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Marcus Webb, the world's leading forensic geneticist, adjusted his microphone. What we're about to witness is unprecedented. Ms. Morley claims to be the biological daughter of Marilyn Monroe, born 3 days before the icon's death in 1962. Hospital records from Cedars-Sinai, discovered last month in a sealed vault, do show a birth on August 1st, 1962. Mother listed as M.M. admission under alias Faye Miller. The studio audience murmured. CNN's anchor, Patricia Hayes, leaned forward. Dr. Webb, skeptics say anyone could have forged those documents. Why should we believe this? Frankly, impossible claim. Morley finally spoke. Her voice carried an odd quality, youthful, but somehow weighted with decades. Because you're not just going to test my DNA, you're going to hear it. Excuse me? Patricia's practiced composure cracked slightly. Voice genetics, Morley said simply. Dr. Webb knows. He's tested royal families, proven lineages through vocal pattern heredity. Voices are as genetic as eye color. More so, actually. Dr. Webb nodded slowly. It's true. Vocal DNA, the inherited structure of larynx, pharynx, even lung capacity, passes from parent to child with 99.7% traceable markers. If Ms. Morley is truly Marilyn Monroe's daughter, then I won't just sound like her, Morley finished. I'll sound exactly like her. At the same age, when she was 27. The year was 2024. Morley was 27 years old, the same age Marilyn was when she allegedly gave birth in secret. This is ridiculous, shouted someone from the audience. Richard Pemberton, celebrity biographer. Marilyn Monroe couldn't hide a pregnancy in 1962. She was the most photographed woman in the world. Morley turned to him. From March to July 1962, where was she? Pemberton fell silent. Everyone knew. Marilyn had vanished for 4 months, claiming illness. When she returned for the filming of Something's Got to Give, she was different. Fragile, desperate. The test, Patricia redirected. Let's proceed with weight. Morley raised her hand. First, I want to show you something. Evidence that's been hiding in plain sight. The screen behind her lit up. A photograph from Marilyn's last photo shoot, the famous poolside session. But this image had never been published. Marilyn sat wrapped in a towel, and visible on her lower abdomen were the unmistakable marks that any mother would recognize. The telltale signs of recent childbirth. My God, someone whispered. Bert Stern took 1,200 photos that day, Morley continued. Only 50 were ever released. The rest were bought and buried. Until last week, when his estate finally... Anyone can doctor photos? Pemberton interrupted desperately. This proves nothing. You're right, Morley agreed, which is why we're here. Dr. Webb, shall we begin? The next minutes were clinical. Swabs, blood draws, hair samples. The studio fell silent except for the hum of equipment. But then Dr. Webb made an unusual request. Ms. Morley, I need you to sing. Sing, Patricia echoed. The vocal test requires sustained phonation, not speech song. Specifically, he pulled out a sheet, these exact notes. The same progression Marilyn Monroe sang in her screen test for 20th Century Fox in 1946. Morley walked to the marked spot. No accompaniment, no fanfare, just her voice filling the studio. The first note hit like electricity. It wasn't that she sounded like Marilyn. It was that she was producing sounds only Marilyn's exact genetic structure could create. The way certain overtones clustered. The specific breathiness at certain frequencies. The impossible to fake resonance that had made Marilyn's whisper more powerful than other women's screams. I want to be loved by you. The audience had stopped breathing. Patricia Hayes, who'd interviewed presidents and never flinched, had tears running down her face. Because this wasn't mimicry. This was molecular memory. Genetic echo. A voice that had been silent for 62 years. Reborn in a throat that inherited its every curve and capacity. Just you and nobody else but you. Dr. Webb's equipment was going haywire. His assistant, Dr. Chen, whispered urgently, Marcus, these readings, the correlation is 99.97%. That's not just parent-child. That's identical. I want to be loved by you alone. When Merle finished, the silence was absolute. Then, from the back of the studio, an old woman stood up. 93-year-old Agnes Murphy, Marilyn's last living friend from the actor's studio. My God, Agnes said, her voice shaking. That's not her daughter singing, that's Norma Jean. The DNA results would take 3 hours, but the vocal analysis was instant. Dr. Webb's hands trembled as he read from his screen. The subject shows perfect genetic correlation in all 17 vocal markers with archived samples from Marilyn Monroe. The probability of this occurring in a non-biological child is, he paused, 1 in 7.8 trillion. So she's telling the truth? Patricia managed. I'm saying it's genetically impossible for her not to be Marilyn Monroe's biological offspring, Dr. Webb confirmed. But there's something else, something I've never seen before. He pulled up a comparison chart. 2 vocal prints side by side. This is Marilyn Monroe at age 27. And this is Ms. Morley, also 27. They're not just similar, they're identical. Not parent and child identical, clone identical. As if what? Patricia pressed. As if they're the same person, Dr. Webb whispered. Recorded at the same age, 62 years apart. The studio erupted. But Morley remained calm. She'd been waiting for this moment her entire life, raised in secret by the same family that had hidden her birth, protected by lawyers and caretakers who knew that someday when the world was ready, the truth would have to come out. There's more, Morley said, silencing the chaos. I have letters, recordings, proof of who my father was. The screen changed. A handwritten note appeared. Marilyn's distinctive script verified by 3 independent experts. My darling daughter, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. They won't let me keep you, but you have his eyes and my voice. You're the best of both of us. The world isn't ready for the truth about your father. Maybe it never will be, but you exist. You are proof that I loved and was loved, that I was more than what they made me. You are my real legacy, my living voice. Sing for me, baby. Sing when I no longer can. Mama, the father, Patricia barely whispered. Who was that's for another day? Morley cut her off. Today is about her, about Marilyn, about the fact that she didn't die childless and alone. She left someone behind, someone who carries her voice not as tribute, but as birthright. The DNA timer showed 1 hour remaining, but nobody needed those results anymore. The voice test had done something DNA couldn't. It had brought Marilyn back into the room. Ms. Morley, Patricia composed herself. If you are who you say you are, why reveal it now? Why today? Morley looked directly into camera 1, into 50 million pairs of eyes, because for 62 years, the world has mourned a woman who died at 36. They've turned her into a tragic symbol, a cautionary tale, but she was more than that. She was a mother. She made sure her voice would survive, not on recordings, not in films, in me. She stood, walked to the center of the studio. My name is Marilyn Morley. I was born Norma Jean Baker Jr. on August 1st, 1962. My mother was Marilyn Monroe, and I've been silent long enough. The hour that followed was chaos. Phone lines crashed. Social media exploded. Marilyn's daughter became the fastest trending topic in Twitter history. But in the studio, Morley sang, song after song, not Marilyn's recorded versions, new interpretations. The same voice evolved, the same DNA, aged to perfection. When the DNA results finally came, they merely confirmed what everyone already knew. 99.97% match, indisputable biological connection. Marilyn Monroe had a daughter. That daughter was standing before them, singing with the voice that had defined an era and survived its own silence. But the real shock came in the final minutes of the broadcast. There's one more thing, Morley said as the show prepared to end. I'm not the only one. The studio froze. What do you mean? Patricia asked. 1962 wasn't Marilyn's first pregnancy, or her last. There are others, hidden, protected. We all have the voice. We all have her DNA. A whole generation of children she saved from the spotlight that killed her. She smiled that unmistakable Monroe smile. Today, you met one daughter. But Marilyn's real legacy, it's bigger than anyone imagined. We've been here all along, waiting, carrying her voice forward. And now we're ready to sing. The cameras cut. The live light went dark. But somewhere in Los Angeles, in New York, in small towns across America, phones were ringing. Women and men were looking at old photographs, adoption papers, birth certificates with strange inconsistencies. All of them with voices that carried something special, something familiar, something that sounded like home and heartbreak and beauty all at once. Marilyn Monroe died on August 5th, 1962. But her voice, her real voice, had never been silenced. It had just been waiting for the right moment to reveal itself, in not just one throat, but many. The children of America's most famous orphan had finally come home, and they were ready to tell their mother's real story. Through the only medium Marilyn ever truly trusted, their inherited voices, their genetic song, their birthright of breath and beauty. Before you process what this means, before you search for the other children, before you question everything you thought you knew about Marilyn Monroe,